Welcome back to another episode of our Less of a Man podcast, where we have interesting topic today. But before we get into it, I want to check on everybody's mental health. So EJ, how was your mental health? How was your week going?
Week's going good. I'm liking what I'm seeing and while I'm looking at myself in here. I know that's really narcissistic, but I'm able to get slimming down, so I feel much better.
The OnlyFans page is gonna be popping.
My OnlyFans page is going to be popping. It is I am EJ.
I don't want to hear this.
How much? The question that people want to know is how much are you charging?
I am charging 5 nights. I'm just playing.
You know what? Do you, man? Who am I to judge? You do you.
I have no idea. We never talk about this, but we just all celebrated Founders Day, so that was really a really big thing for us. 107 years. So coming off a real high, I felt like the online celebration was really cool, really dope to see too. So
did y'all tune into the actual international celebration?
Nope. I got to see some of it. It was dope. I like they highlighted the astronaut that was there. That's really cool that they were able to incorporate that. I thought that was dope.
Did I text Darrell, but he just pretty much just dismissed.
For me, it's just nice to see where my dues are going. The increasing of my dues is going. I was playing Metal Gear and watching football, so no, I did not watch it. So, what about your mental health, Shar?
Oh, Lord, where to begin? I mean, I'm good personally. It's just a lot going on, and I guess we'll get into the details later. It really was a roller coaster week. Started off at the bottom of the roller coaster, then we came up to the top, and then crashed back to the bottom by the end of the week. So a lot of stuff going on in the country that's making you kind of depressed and having PSTD all over again. But overall, we ended up in a good week. What?
Like, are you doing good personally?
I mean,
you had a lot of roller coasters personally.
No, not a lot of roller coasters personally. I just have a lot going on as far as what's going on in this country. It's just a lot going on. And we'll talk about it.
We're just gonna.
Personally, I'm fine. I mean, I'm going to work, so that's still the same thing.
I'm going to
pretty
work.
Much, huh?
I'm going to work.
Yeah, so
I'm 5-year hiatus.
Yeah, I have my niece here this weekend, which is why I'm broadcasting from this part of my room today, so I'm not in my normal location. So we've been babysitting for the weekend. She woke up in the middle of the night crying. Don't know why she was crying. Then she didn't want to tell me why she was crying. And then finally, after I started ignoring her, she said she wanted a bottle and watch Dora the Explorer. So then I had to go downstairs and make a bottle, and then turn on Dora the Explorer. So
I'm sorry to tell you, Char, that don't stop, man.
Huh?
That don't stop. The 10-year-old is still crying over nothing.
Oh, really? I'm not looking forward to that, but okay. So yeah, so that's what's going on today. My niece is here, so we have her till today. But other than that, overall, everything is good.
Okay, so we in my household, having a very somber week, for the simple fact that we all go back to work on Monday. So we were on leave because we had a baby, 2 months, and I don't want to go back. I want to spend the rest of my life playing video games because that's what I was doing.
You know, you could actually get paid doing that if you actually pursue that part of your career.
Yeah, on YouTube, I could play video games on YouTube.
Oh, you work for like a gaming company, where you guys could pay you to test your game out.
Well, they got that on LinkedIn.
I don't know if it's I don't know what it's under, but they got people who actually play games for a living.
Let me go on LinkedIn, and then something happened. Like I was sitting there, so my wife had our son, and I just felt this warm liquid on me. I thought he peed on me.
Oh,
but in fact, he was being breastfed because he's being breastfed. He unlatched, and a piece of her breast milk touched my elbow, and it was the most disgusting feeling. Like I almost wish he peed on me than having that on me. So I rushed to get this off of me, and now I won't
really
next to them as she's breastfeeding.
I do have a question though, and this is probably gonna be more disgusting for you. So you've never been interested in actually tasting the milk to see how it tastes or anything?
Hell no.
Huh?
What?
Hell no.
That's not like okay. Y'all have y'all not heard people have conversations about that?
Yes, white people. Yes,
Okay, I'll just okay.
Ooh,
I've heard white people have that conversation.
Huh?
what? Is this a thing? Like what?
Yeah, it's a thing.
White people thing,
That-
and Shard's inappropriate family thing, obviously.
Okay, no, I'm just saying. I've heard people actually have that question.
So are you going to be doing that?
No, I mean, who knows? I don't know. I mean, maybe not.
Because your sisters.
No, that's horrible. Now you took it to a place of discomfort. Now, see, so, I was trying to keep it between husband and wife, and then you just kind of took it like a whole nother.
I was thinking the only person that might have breastfed.
I'm just saying. Okay, that's why I asked you, considering that your wife is now the one feeding your child. You know,
I will never taste that.
your lack of interest or curiosity.
I'm not even gonna say anything. I think that's too X-rated, but whatever.
I'm pretty sure y'all tasted a lot worse.
Because people are so
I'm pretty sure.
like that's to me is like people are so disgusted. Like, oh, I will never eat onions, but they over here eating
the groceries,
everything. And I'm like,
man, y'all being all high and mighty now. I'm pretty sure you tasted a lot worse in your life.
No, I will never eat that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
really?
Really?
It's something
I
about
could
it.
have sworn that you eat, but all right, we just go.
It's something about it, man. I ain't doing it. Anybody who's done it, let me know.
I mean, you're not even a little curious, just a tad. Just
no.
Okay, you just.
Anyway, so let's go. Let's move on because we'll be on this all the whole time. What we should be talking about today is how
take my smile off.
Saved y'all asses. That's what we should be talking about. Georgia said, "I'm taking off the blazer, loosen up the tie, step inside the booth. Superman is alive." That's what we should be talking about. Louisiana was sitting on the sidelines looking, shutting the fuck up. Maryland, where my wife's from, is on the sidelines looking, shutting the fuck up. If Raw was here, New York was looking, shutting the fuck up. Whatever state Edward
did you just call out Louisiana?
Yep, is sitting on the sidelines. Whatever state EJ is claiming today is sitting on the sidelines, shutting the fuck up because
he tried to go the blue one.
Asses. Georgia saved the soul of the country. I don't want to hear nothing about. We might not win Super Bowls here, but we saved the soul of the country. We saved y'all asses in the Senate race.
I actually watched the events unfold. So
no, that's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff winning the Senate, turning the Senate Democrat, saving y'all asses. While y'all states just look there twiddling their thumbs.
It looked very dismal. It looked dismal in the beginning of that race. But did you do your mental health check-in? Oh, you did.
I did, but so but what we are going to talk about is on the same day, well, January 6th, as they were counting the votes, there was a protest at the Capitol.
Ain't no protest. Call it what it is.
No, I am. I'm getting to that. So, a protest that turned into a riot, that turned into an insurrection, basically treason. Well, not basically, it was treason. And this shit was like, I was watching this shit this is probably the only day I didn't turn on CNN. It's only 9:30 in the morning, so that might still turn it on. But this shit was history. That's why I was watching it. Mm-hmm. This shit was historic. This shit will never, I ain't gonna say will never happen again, but we'll be talking about this for decades. This day. Dude, it was like, when I'm watching it, it would just boggle my mind. My first question to you guys is, what were you guys thinking when you saw this unfolding?
I'm gonna go first on this one. I'm a geek anyway, so I was actually watching the votes being actually certified with the Senate. So I was at my desk listening to it, through my earbuds. I stepped away from my desk for about 10, 15 minutes. I come back and there's just chaos at the Capitol. And I'm like, what happened between the 15 minutes that I left my desk and now? And I'm like, so it really was it's almost like if you have a kid and you leave the room and all of a sudden there's crayon markings all over the wall.
Yeah, they got all covered.
Yeah, like what happened in the 15 minutes that I just left out this room that just caused all this chaos to happen? So that's really what I was with it. And I'm like, and I was kind of confused because I really couldn't grab the severity or the craziness of what was actually happening at the time. You know, us black folks are scared. You know what I'm saying? We ain't about to go rush the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? We like that's just not even in. We can't even imagine the idea of actually coming up with the idea of rushing
hold
a
on,
federal building.
pause real quick. When I don't want people to misconstrue. When you say black people are scared, one thing is a few things we won't fuck with.
Yeah.
Like we'll tear our own neighborhoods before we fuck with the government.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't gonna fuck with the government. Like even to see that shit. Like these people, this is the feds they talking about. You know what I'm saying? Rappers said they only afraid of God and the feds.
Yeah.
Like we ain't fucking with the government. Go ahead.
If you go down a list of stuff that we gonna do, going on federal ground would probably be one of the last things that we think of. So the white privilege of it all, in terms of like just
been an option. As soon as we seen it, we were like, oh, dude.
And then I was reading a CNN article this morning, and I don't know if y'all remember a while back where this black woman, she was in her car and she was trying to bust through the Capitol building, and it kind of shot and killed her.
Mm-hmm.
So her sister was talking like, well, dang, we had all like how my sister died, but then we couldn't get somebody, you know, so
more white people wouldn't die.
Yeah. Only one white person was shot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't trying to get nobody get shot. I'm just saying, you know, but still, so that's where I was. I was just like, is this really happening?
I think
yeah.
I think it's like we were seeing like a scene of a movie, like a third world country where the rebels are trying to rush whatever their building is, and you just somebody outside just gunning them down. Like that, like the shit could, like in our heads, that's how that shit kind of should have turned off. Like 5 people lost their lives, and we're like, oh, it should have been probably a lot more than that.
What was the snipers? That's my question. I'm sorry.
I want to know, how is the Capitol building security like that? Because I was saying the whole time, like, it's no way PlayStation can have as more security than the government. So we need to ride and go get my PlayStation 5.
Dude, the Raisins at CBS have more protection than the Capitol. You can't even get to the Raisins at the
without asking.
Without asking somebody to take that key and open up those Raisins so you can get to them. So that's what we were.
EJ, I'm gonna let you talk, but it's just no way PlayStation has more security than the Capitol.
Man, the airport has more security than the Capitol. Like the airport, like come on, it's crazy.
So, what was your thoughts as it was unfolding?
So I was at work, so I wasn't really watching CNN and following, you know, the confirmation and all of that, or the certification, all of that. But like literally in the middle of class, the trainer was like, "Oh well, yeah, did you hear about?" Just now, this is in, people were basically storming the Capitol. And I'm like, okay, let me look real quick on my phone. And I look at the video, I'm like my jaw just dropped, like, this really happened? And there's no, like, there's no, like, shooting up of the place. There's no, like, I'm just like, how? Like, to me, I was, like, in, like, awe, like, first of all, how they even get to that point, because most government buildings, especially like that, actually the Pentagon, I think, is more secure than that building is. So it's like there's military bases are more secure than that. Like you can't just go on a military base. So, and for you to try to rush the military base, there are already people out there ready with guns. So it's like, it was just crazy. And it also just goes to show like the differences between how certain things are treated. And people
how black people are treated.
How black people are. If it was black people, honestly, so many more people would be dead.
Actually, hold on, you're going a little ahead because that was actually my next question. So I'll let you go into it. Do you feel like the outcome would have been different if it was black people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, we can't even have a peaceful protest without it being ended up like it's a riot, and the way their mentality is this is a riot, we're going to, like, everyone needs to disperse, we're going to tear gas them, we're going to, you know, do all this crazy stuff. And it's like these people like literally took over a government building.
One dude had his feet kicked up on Nancy Pelosi's desk.
Yes.
That's how wild this shit was.
And they got to walk away from it. Lots of people got to walk away.
There was a scene where an officer is helping a lady down the steps. It's a picture. He's holding her hand, helping her down the steps. This shit
taking selfies with them. They're taking selfies with them.
They open the gate.
They open the gate. It's like at Disney World, you give me your ticket to get a tour. That's what it was. But I just want y'all to kind of break down this. Like there was a process to this. You have to register to actually have an event. So not like the DC department didn't know this was about to go down.
They knew it was happening.
They knew this was actually happening. Just like the Black Lives Matter events, they knew that protest was coming. And when they knew Black Lives Matter was going to be in the house, they had security and National Guards and everybody else just ready up and empty.
They had MacGyver. They had Thanos with the Infinity Stones.
I think they had the Usher board there. The Usher board was ready to go. So like they had everybody ready to go. So you mean to tell me that we couldn't get? And let's also say what was going on. More importantly, we knew that they were certifying the election, and you know these people mad about the election. So you mean to tell me you couldn't put two and two together and make sure that we at least have some protection at the Capitol, where the majority of our Congress is there? I mean, everybody was there except Trump.
Everybody was.
Was Kamala there?
And I don't think Kamala was there, but well, Pence was there because they were certifying the votes, and also it could have been much worse because they found somebody with pipe bombs, guns. Somebody had a note trying to say they were going to kill Nancy Pelosi. I thought, like, when I'm watching this, if it was black people, they would have giant mech transformer type robots just coming out of the ground, just like fucking RoboCop, and just like mowing people down. Like the gear that they had during the Black Lives Matter, they had riot gear, they had body armor.
Yeah.
To them, they had mall cops. They had mall cops. They had mall cop there trying to stop this thing, or maybe he was part of it.
With all of our protests, did any cops die?
No, nobody died.
Just like 5 people died during all this protest.
5 people died, including a police officer. They said the blue light. They say back the blue, but it's not back the blue when it's dealing with white privilege.
So I don't know. This was as close to designated survivor as we gonna get. I mean, this is really was crazy. It's like
I sat back though. I think I watched it a little different. I was kind of entertained by it because I was like, "Yo, look at these white people go! Look at this shit I'm watching. These white people are fucking going insane!" Like.
And it was hypocrisy all over the building. Are you mad at Trump? Are you mad at Pence? Are you mad at Pelosi? Are you mad at the cops? Like they were mad at everybody. So nobody had this. There was no set agenda. Just I'm sorry. Oh. You know really what it was. It's all about black folks. It all comes down to racism. And if we couldn't see that all this is a culmination of we are scared that we're gonna lose our country because we're losing grips on our control because people of color are not taking it anymore. I don't know what else is a signal of what that was.
No, you actually put a great point because all this was about race. And not only this, the whole Senate race, all the commercials, the whole about Trump and all of this was about race. If you look at the Senate race, for people who are not in Georgia, we got extra month and a half of commercials. And basically, Warnock, who is the Democratic, he won the Democratic Senate. He said that I'm going to fight for everybody. Then the next commercial will be Kelly Loeffler, who's opposing him, say, I'm going to stop the radical agenda. And I'm like, the radical agenda standing up for everybody? Literally, radical left was a term basically for black people. Mm-hmm. Like, basically, all the Republicans wanted to do was make sure white people were straight. Yeah. And when white people feel like they're not straight, they have a fucking tantrum, man. This is that, and I'm glad you said that because this shit was all about race.
Yeah,
all of this underlying tone was about race. A lot of people said, I was watching CNN, and a lot of people said, "This isn't the America I know. We're better than this."
Please.
No, and the only people who said this was white people. Black people all said, "This is exactly the America I expected."
That's what I've been seeing.
This is exact America. I enjoyed it. Was it Tamika Mallory that basically said, black people, this ain't our fight. Just sit there and watch it.
Yeah.
Kick your feet up like Buddy at Pelosi's office and just watch this thing go down.
I mean, yeah.
Joy put it together perfectly on her segment. Like she basically ran down the fact that they're not as scared of the police, right?
Mm-mm.
So in order to do this, you do have to have no fear of police, like at all. Police are working with them. They're on their side. They really don't really give a fuck, honestly. Like that's literally the mentality that you have to have. And black people, it would have been everything would have been blamed on Black Lives Matter. Look at this, we're out of control. And the
Mm-hmm.
funny thing to me about this is no matter how bad this looks, like people, instead of saying, okay, yeah, no, this is bad, I'm definitely, on the right of the conversation, but this looks bad. They go to, well, when no one said anything when Black Lives Matter were protesting and rioting and they were looting after the George Floyd and after all of the other, social injustice things and Breonna Taylor. No one said anything when they were burning down buildings. Yo, yes, we were wrong, but can you sit here in this moment right now and acknowledge the fact this is like on a completely another level? Honestly, it's bad that any of that happened with the looting and all of that. That's terrible. Businesses, being put under because of it. It's absolutely terrible and it's huge and it should never have happened. But this is a whole nother like
There's a whole nother level. But also,
level.
I would push back on you.
Yeah, I was about to
I
push
would
back.
say
Yeah.
I would say most people that were looting weren't black people. Like it was more white people that were doing it, and then we kind of got lumped in with them. There's a lot of things we'll do, but there's a whole bigger list of things we won't do.
Right. But my whole point is that in 2021, let's not use something that happened in the past to justify and project from what's happening right now.
Right.
Like what's happening right now is that white people were upset with the outcome of the election and they literally tried to take over a government building. Like
White
that's
people,
literally what happened.
white
I don't.
people,
You
wow.
can't say nothing about Black Lives Matter in this moment. You can't say anything. There were black people that were there. I have no idea why or what in their minds they would have to think or be thinking that they would have thought that this was like.
They stand out like a sore thumb. Why would they even be there?
It's
They
like
say deliver Uber Eats.
I don't understand.
Like he took a wrong turn and just happened to be there.
I don't understand what your fight was. Your stance was in the fight, but whatever. But literally, white people taking over because they're upset about the election, complaining about us whenever Trump won, and we just were saying. So I saw a post on my Facebook from one of my friends who I didn't really know that we went through flight attendant school together. She's going down a laundry list of things that apparently black people and Democrats did whenever Trump became in office. They're like, are we gonna basically saying, are we gonna be able to do all these things now that Biden is president and it was an unfair election? I'm like, what? Like,
With no proof of it being unfair
what?
election. The Supreme Court threw it out. There's no proof. Everybody says it's unfair. It's a lie. There's no proof of that.
Also, this is where cleared up, and you went down a path, EJ, but in terms of why white people went crazy this week, it was based off of a conspiracy and something that is not true. Let's make sure we clear that up. It's something that they are being fed because it feeds their internal desire issues with race. Let's first clarify that.
Right.
We were protesting because we feel like we are not treated as equals in our country. People were shot and killed by police officers, and we have an issue with police killing our people, and that's why we were protesting. A complete different reason why people were rushing the Capitol this week. And I think
we were rushing for being sore losers. We're rushing
sore
for
losers.
lives.
So that really needs to be clear. We ain't just out there looting because we feel like we lost. We are losing, and that's why we went and we were protesting. And I think that's worth noting. And to make that comparison is absolutely ridiculous. I think for people to even go there, it's insulting.
Well, then don't watch Fox News because that's all they did. Like so what I do is I'm the type that I read the other side a lot. So when this is happening, I was like, I wonder what Fox News is saying. And Fox News was basically saying everything EJ was saying. Everything. When they were saying like, well, Black Lives Matter did this. It was cool when they did it. Like, and then the same talking points we kind of said with Black Lives Matter when we was like, that's not us. That's a few of them. Mostly it was white people doing it when it was happening to us. They were saying the same thing. that's not us. 90% of or 99% of Trump supporters are nice and kind. It was the few little agitators. Maybe Antifa came in and started a riot, like, and that already got debunked. So Fox News has already played that kind of.
Black folks are not trying to kill police officers. Even though we felt like we are disenfranchised, we were not trying to kill police officers when we were marching.
And they were armed. They were armed.
No, what I'm saying is Jay-Z said that y'all killed XXX and let George Zimmerman live. Streets. We don't touch George Zimmerman. That should tell you the mind of black folks already. We ain't trying to kill that. We let George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman is asking to be touched.
He's still wilding out. He is wilding out here.
Nobody has touched him. Nobody. So to sit here and act like we're on the same, in our mind frames the same, is not. It's just some things that we won't do. So that goes to my next question. Does white privilege exist? And I asked this question. This is why I asked this question. I heard somebody say they didn't believe, of course, a white person, they didn't believe white privilege exists because they didn't grow up rich. And I said that white privilege has nothing to do with how much money. Actually, I had a mentor. He told me the ranking system is a rich white person, rich black person, poor black person, poor white person is at the bottom. He said, why is a poor white person at the bottom? Because why are you poor? You have the right to steal. Why? There's no reason you should be poor. So that's why white people are at the bottom. So when I say white privilege, she thought because her family didn't have money that she didn't have white privilege. No, white privilege is being able to rush the Capitol and not think anything was going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And walk away from it.
To have cops helping you, open up the gates and said, hey, you want to take some shit? Nancy Pelosi's desk is on the right. Go take that.
White privilege is you stealing something, doing something illegal, and then getting on camera and bragging about what you did.
Bragging about it. Did you see the girl, she got maced? And she was like, I just ran in the Capitol and they maced me. I don't know why. Like,
really?
What?
So, yeah.
There's so many examples of white privilege that we can take from media. White privilege goes to whenever you are like getting your children into college, paying off so your children get into college, yet you have a black woman that put their child in a school district that was better than where they were living.
And she's in jail.
For what? For a long time.
Yep. Meanwhile, ridiculous amount. She was homeless too. Yeah. She was homeless.
This other person gets what? Community
service. I think their parents got like two months.
Or
something like that.
Very minimal time frame.
Right.
White privilege is being able to kill black people because you assume that they're doing something in your neighborhood when actually, in fact, they belong there, or they were walking through there, or they were running, whatever the narrative may be, and you get off and you're able to do that. That's white privilege. White privilege is being able to walk down the street and be completely unbothered by police, not question about where you are, who you are, what you're doing, not looking like a suspect in just a everyday life, right?
Right.
White privilege is not having to tell your kids how to operate in society because there's not rules that would dictate whether or not you live or die. Like, that's all a part of white privilege.
Yeah, and adding on to that, EJ, white privilege goes for our view of it is that, like, when we go into our offices, we have to speak a certain way. Our accent has to be suppressed. We got to make sure our clothes, like, I can be very lax at my job, but I still have to, like, I have some pro-black shirts. I don't wear these pro-black shirts because I have to be conscious to not do that. Like, that's also what white privilege is. I had a presentation I had to do. At the end, I had Obama doing the mic drop. I was not doing nothing political. I just looked up mic drop. Boom, put Obama on there. Somebody was like, hey man, you might want to think about removing that because you're showing your political ties. I'm like, it's just a mic drop. So that's what I'm saying. White privilege also how we interact, how we do, like J. Cole song, niggas from the hood are the best actors. Because we got to have our interview voice, we got to have our work voice, and we also got to have our homies in the street voice.
I guess white privilege is also watching your peers, your white peers arrive at a position 2 years before you get there. that's
Absolutely.
always seeing them advance a lot quicker with the same level of education, same level of experience, but yet they get there a few years before you do. So, and then when you get there, you have to explain how you got there. That's white privilege.
It's probably like
Your
10 years.
ass
Dang,
off
you
to
did.
get to a position while they're mediocre. That's
Yeah.
absolutely
Well, we have master's degrees and they had 2 days of community college.
Yeah. Oh, my mom works here, so mom was able to get me on. That's white privilege.
White privilege is going to a job interview. I'm wearing a 3-piece suit on, and you look like you just rolled out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
That's white privilege, but they don't understand white privilege. Like, we're looking at these riots, and all I know, I felt like it was like if you watch Dragon Ball Z and he was doing the spirit bomb and getting all the energy from the world to do the spirit bomb. I felt like all black people at this point were connected at this point, because we were all thinking, not even black people, all minorities were connected because we all were thinking the exact same thing at this point. We was like, man.
Also, white privilege is when police officers arrest you, they ask you if you want Burger King, and they take
after killing black people in the church.
Black people in church.
But do you realize during the situation, I'm glad you brought it up, Darrell, that black people were just quiet. We were angry, but we were just like, almost like, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
What if they were Muslims?
Yeah.
That did that? Yeah. What would the outcome would have been?
Oh my gosh, they would be domestic terrorists.
They would have domestic terrorists. They would have mowed them down.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then these same people that stormed the Capitol would have been happy that happened.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of black people would have mowed us down. And
this all happened because a white man didn't get what he wanted. He didn't get what he thought he deserved. So instead of actually trying to earn it, he goes to steal it, and then convince other people to say it was stolen from me. So let's go take it back.
Dude, he called Georgia for the election and said, "Can I find? All I need you to do is find 11,000 votes." And I'm sitting here, how is this not a criminal offense? He's recorded saying, "Hey, all we need you to do is find 11,000 votes because we won by a landslide." I'm like, if you find 11,000 votes, that means you barely won. That's not a landslide.
The funny thing is, finding the 11,000 votes, like, are they all going to be your votes, or could they also be some of Biden's too?
But are they under the couch? Like, where are these 11,000 votes?
Are we right? Are we copying them and then just like, oh my bad, we left out, we conveniently left out enough votes for you to win.
Yeah. And then these coward ass Republicans like Kelly Loeffler. I'm so happy she lost because she's a fucking coward. She goes on after the riot happens when they're confirming, certifying the votes. She was like, I can't, after what just happened, can't go against the certification of the votes. So you said this whole time that the election was false. It was wrong. It was rigged. So because of this happened, now you're backtracking on it. What does the riots have anything to do with the election? You feeling like the election being rigged? It had nothing to do with it. But now, so you know it was a publicity stunt.
And also, white privilege is you being against everything, and then this one moment you feel like you could just make a statement and say, "Oh my bad, this is wrong," and then be forgiven.
Look at that, Lindsey Graham.
Yeah,
Ted Cruz should be punched in his face.
You know how bad I want to punch Ted Cruz in the face? I won't go to jail, but I'm just saying, like, I just want to just.
He has a very punchable face too. He has a face that you want to punch.
Yeah.
And he's sitting here on Twitter talking about we have to reunite each other as a company. I mean, as a country.
And it's Biden's job to make sure that we're united. Really?
After this dude talked about
y'all's job. All of y'all.
Yeah, all of our job. It should be Republicans' job to reunite as a country as well. But he talked about Trump's wife. I mean, Trump talked about his wife being ugly. And then he over here sniffing his butt the whole 4 years, man.
He accused his dad of being involved with the JFK assassination.
And kissed his ass.
Yeah.
Mike Pence don't get to walk away from this. He's been with him the entire time. The entire time. I was on Twitter the other day because I like to read like the Republicans' response, and like Donald Trump Jr. is on Twitter. Wow, he is wilding about these false claims of like election fraud and stuff. It is. I mean, it's wild. It's wild. But my next question for you guys is: do you guys think more riots will happen, especially when the inauguration happens? Do you think?
Dude, this is the beginning. Like, I believe this is probably like one of the, as far as my time living, it's probably one of the most unsafest times in our country. As far as not necessarily, as far as white folks being emboldened to do things that's similar to what they were doing back during our parents during the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is as close as we've seen to what our parents and grandparents dealt with in the '60s. I think. And the thing about it, I think it's just a tenth, or even less than a tenth of what they were dealing with back in the past. And I think this time is like, I think white folks are just gonna wild out because all they needed is a catalyst to like make them feel like they can just do whatever, just whatever they feel like they want to do. 77 million people voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about the Georgia Senate races. Were all very close.
Yeah.
I forgot what I thought. Keep going. Let me.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So of that 77 million, you can imagine how many other people are now emboldened to do things that's gonna hurt. That's just because they feel like they've been wrong. They feel emboldened to go out and just tear stuff up or kill someone or do something to someone because
the hell they want.
They have been wrong.
They lost. And the problem is they didn't. They keep saying like they one of David Perdue's commercial was like, we're gonna bring back the country to the majority, and I was like, just say white people. Like, just say what you're trying to say is white people. But what I was gonna say to you is, doesn't this prove that we haven't made much progress since the '60s season? If we can just go back like that.
On major issues, no.
Yeah.
A lot of major issues we have not made progress. We've made progress in different ways, but I think that mindset and how things are ran, we're not really going to see change until we see laws change that continue to basically like enslave us in ways. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of the, like we say with the criminal justice system, that's still a type of enslavement. And the way that it affects us negatively is the equivalent of
but it's not the one thing I'll correct you, EJ, it's not a type of enslavement, it is an enslavement. It's exactly enslavement.
Look here, we're not gonna change until the majority of the white folks that voted for Trump call a spade a spade. Until the Republicans that's supposed to be representing our country call a spade a spade. Until people start saying, yes, this is a problem. Because it's not even the racists that's the problem. It's the people who have the privilege that's not calling out the other people that's wrong. That's the problem. The politicians who are inching around instead of just saying this is jacked up, this is wrong. Not when stuff just gets to the point where it's just horrible, but way back in years ago when Trump said the simple racist things in the beginning in terms of killing Mexicans and they're calling Mexican looters and rapists. It started there. In terms of it not being corrected. And every time you didn't correct something that he did wrong was a build up to what we now have that happened Thursday. So until people start calling out things, the minor things that's racist or wrong, we're not going to change, in my opinion.
And I think the Republican Party has a huge problem.
They got issues.
A couple of months ago, I said that if it wasn't for the racism, heterosexual black males would be Republican. Mm-hmm. That's not the truth today. They have a huge problem where Democrats can't win. They always say rural areas, but we all know white areas.
White areas.
Republicans cannot win major black cities. They cannot. And why can't they win major black cities? It's because they rode this Trump coattail of racism till they couldn't ride it no more. Mm-hmm. They rode it. Like Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue used a strategy that Trump used and lost in the election, but still used it.
Yeah. But here's the crazy part. Kelly Loeffler was actually a moderate Republican before when Kemp picked her. And like you said, she chose to ride Trump's coattails thinking it was gonna win just so she can win. Not because it was best for the country, but because she can win. And she represents so many white Americans with that mentality. Mm-hmm. And thinking that because they don't think they're racist, but you're just as complicit, and that's what people need to recognize.
And you are racist. Go ahead.
I think that she is. But even to the point, like, yes, okay, they rode the Trump train, but I think even more importantly, we don't know what they're doing, what their plan is for us. Like, how are they going to improve our life? So in Black cities, majority Black cities, what are you going to do? We don't know what your plan is to do for us. We never really hear
You
that.
know what their plan is. Their plan is to stop the radical left.
Well,
that's their only plan.
That's what I was about to say. That's all we hear. You got to stop the radical. Okay, but what is your plan though? Like, if you want our vote, what is your plan? What explicitly? What is your plan? When Trump ran, there was no plan on us. He tried to use the whole Ice Cube situation to kind of draw more people in, which he did.
What about what do you got to lose?
Exactly.
When he first ran.
So it's like what do you have no set plan for how to fix the things that we find as major issues for us. So how are you gonna get our vote? Like,
they don't even address the plans. Like one thing, Sharon, I'll let you speak.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any reason anybody other than racism, there shouldn't be anybody's reason to vote for a Republican. Because of what you just said. They never tell you what they're gonna do. All they said was, we're gonna stop the radical left, which we know is a dog whistle that we're gonna stop. Go ahead, Sharon.
But also, Republicans do look at a monolithic group of people. We're not all poor. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Like, handouts. Not all of us want handouts.
Guys, some of us actually have jobs, degrees, and actually work. We're not all looking for a handout. So the creative part about it is that if you actually presented plans that cover the gauntlet, not even from a Black perspective, but just from a human being perspective. What white folks aren't only ones that's rich. You know what I'm saying? So like, instead of looking at it from an angle of just having a Black plan, a white plan, or just having a plan for people based off of the issues and financial places they are in their lives, instead of just trying to say radical left to mean the poor Black folks, then you probably could have a chance of actually just trying to bring people over and stop looking at their color and just looking at their position in life. You know what I'm saying? So that's the crazy part about it sometimes.
Yeah, I would have respected Kelly Leffler if she just would have said, I'm here for white folk. At least I would respect that.
You know what I'm saying?
Just say it. With everything that goes down, is this all Trump's fault?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I got a different answer. My bad.
No, that was the end of my question. Go ahead. Is that was the only take on it?
I think Trump is a representation of what America is what America really is. Trump can only be there based off of what America voted him. Right. So Trump is a representation of what half the country is. So he's a manifestation of what represents our country. He was only able to say the things and resonate with people because people heard it and it was something that was in them that was then released. Yeah. So Trump's the problem.
They want to say racist things with their friends.
Yeah. He just fueled the fire that we thought was going out, and now it's just bigger than ever, I think.
Absolutely. What about you, EJ?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna say that I agree with what you're saying, like it already exists. Trump's like that one friend that will just say whatever and doesn't have any filter. So he helps you to be able to articulate your points because you feel comfortable because he is the one that's going to take, he's going to be the one to take the blow and just say whatever. Now, of course, it always has existed. I think that he helped to polarize people to be outwardly outspoken about their dissatisfaction with certain things and be more racist actually outwardly than being like in silence like we have seen it in the past, because I'm sure there are a lot more racist people out there. We just don't know about it because they don't speak about it. But now we're seeing people go public now, and social media has also provided that platform where people can be these Facebook gangsters. They can be articulate, they can say whatever they want and hide behind fake images or whatever, until they have their own images up there and they say something about Stacey Abrams and then get fired from their job. So it's like he helped to encourage it and influence what was already there, and he didn't help the situation. Like he basically saying that, yeah, this happens when you steal the election and this is what's going to happen. Like encouraging, like inciting people to do these things is just like him adding another layer of what's already there. So I mean, in a way, yeah, he's largely responsible for the outcome.
But Trump is about Trump. Let's be real. Because if he felt like that, giving that $2,000 to the country would have gotten him elected, he would have done it. So he's not about the Republican Party. He's about doing whatever he feels is going to get him the win. And if he felt like Democrats would have listened to, if Democrats would have felt disenfranchised and he saw the opportunity to use Democrats to get him elected, he would have used that opportunity. It's just that I think he saw where our country was, and he saw what people were willing to ignore or what people didn't want to deal with, and he saw it as an opportunity for him to win, and he took advantage of it. And I think we like to hide behind people to hide truly what our. Because at the end of the day, when Trump leaves, our problems don't go away.
No, and
it's still there.
A lot of this, I'm gonna equate my answer because my answer is gonna be a little different from you guys. I'm gonna equate my answer to women when women want to be independent. And I was talking to somebody that was like, they can't find a date because men are intimidated because she's independent, have all this. And I told her, blame Beyonce. Blame Beyonce because Beyonce told y'all to be independent women. You became independent women. These are the consequences for it. So this was, in saying that, I'm going to call Barack Obama to the carpet because you were too progressive for them. You scared a black man in office was too much. These motherfucking white people went crazy. They goddamn voted a fucking anarchist and Trump, and all this shit came because all this is a consequence of us electing our first black president.
I agree there. Yeah.
This is all this. Trump wouldn't even have been there if it wasn't for Obama. They saw their power losing so much that they went to the most radical. It's almost like it's the Joker. Like you went to a guy you fully did not understand, and you emboldened people. All of this is a trickle-down effect because white people did not want to see a black president. All of this. So I'm going to say this is Obama's fault. Not his fault, but it's our country's fault. But also not only Trump, it's the Lindsey Grahams of the world, the Kelly Loefflers, the Ted Cruz, the Mike Pence. It's a lot of motherfuckers that need to take this. Giuliani should be in jail for telling people we need to do a trial by combat. Before the election, before the riots happened, he had a rally and said that we need to have trial by combat. He should be in jail. He should definitely.
So at the end of the day, people are about themselves. Is that what we're saying?
White people are about themselves. Mm-hmm. Let me say that. I think white people, we just want equal. Black people just want you to be civil. We just want civil rights. Just be civil. That's it. White people are about themselves. That's the difference. Do you guys agree with social media banning Trump? Now, this list of bans is quite hilarious because we have the heavy hitters. We have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have Facebook. But when you see Pinterest and Spotify, I'm like, is he dropping an album? Like, why is he being banned on Spotify?
Vision board?
Do you guys agree with social media banning? EJ, I'm gonna let you start.
I think it's like a little too late. Like it should have been done so many years ago. Like you wait until it's at the heightened state that it is right now when he's been saying the same kinds of things like all along. Like He's been making the same statements or worse all along. It's like, okay, great, now you banned him, but it's like, I'm glad you finally had the balls to do it, but it's like, I feel like it's late.
Right. What about you, Char?
For Spotify, I think Spotify is more because you can have a channel, right? Like you can have a channel on Spotify.
You have a playlist. You can't have a Trump playlist.
Trump can't get that ODB album. So I don't know. Just like that new Wu-Tang that came out, he can't listen to that.
What about you, Shaw?
I mean, whatever.
Trump can't, make up his room using Pinterest anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
ideas.
People trying to save face. I feel like Twitter banning Trump is no different than Betsy DeVos leaving her position 2 weeks before. Like it's not like Trump just starts saying this Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Or Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and that's a problem with our country now. There's no one who have the courage enough to stand up in a moment where there may be opposition based off your decision. And that's at the end of the day, that's what I equate Twitter to banning Trump. I mean, how many I'm pretty sure we can't even count how many racist, inappropriate tweets that Trump has done over the years. And now when white folks tear up the Capitol and 5 people die, and
it's too much when a police
representatives are in the corner just wondering what's going to happen to them, and white folks are still in podiums and breaking down windows. Now Twitter decides, you know what, let's go shut this down. I mean, it's
not only the racist tweets, but the emboldening people to make racist tweets themselves. Yeah. The whole tree brand. For me, I'm a little conflicted about this question, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. I understand that all these people are private companies and they can do whatever they want, but what kind of irks me is the picking and choosing what free speech that you kind of ban. Now, I'm even though I battle with that, I'm cool with them banning Trump because Trump is gonna do shit to get people killed. I've always said, back when the coronavirus and he was talking about hydroxychloroquine and he was talking about, remember he was talking about it was the medicine that was supposed to cure coronavirus and 2 people took it and died. Like, he has been saying stuff that's going to get people killed. So I'm cool with him. I just don't want to go down a path that we now are picking and choosing what free speech we kind of ban, because people do have free will. And if they want to hear Trump's rhetoric, they're going to get it some way or another. Because he was posting on the POTUS, like he has 2 Twitters. He has his real one, and the president has one. And he started posting on the POTUS, and then they shut that one down. Like, and then you got the Republicans, like Donald Trump Jr. What's her name? I can't even think of her. But you have like Candace Owens and all them. Okay. Talking about like, they're trying to silence us. Well, they have something to hide. They don't feel repercussions of their actions. Now they're just saying, oh, now look at Twitter trying to ban us. They're trying to ban the silent, whatever, 72 million, whatever it was that voted for him. They're trying to silence us. So now you even galvanizing them even more, because now they feel like, oh, this Trump is our martyr. Trump, they treat, like, literally when Trump was watching this, he has to be feeling like a fucking god. Like, they're worshiping, like, one of Christianity is not worship a false god. And that's all they were doing at this point. That's all they're doing.
And Trump we trust.
Yes, there were Trump flags, like, were flying high, man. But I'm just, I just don't know, because I don't want to get to a point that we're picking and choosing what we're banning.
But to your point, there is, we do have the First Amendment, but also there's the part of our First Amendment that we sometimes choose to ignore is libel. And you don't have the right to just say whatever you want to say. And Trump obviously was just not telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Oh, so I think if we're going to go that direction, if we're going to ban people or try to control our social media, it should at least at minimum be based off of if people are telling the truth or not. And we can definitely distinguish what it's some things are just opinions. So but there's some things not telling the truth. You know what I'm saying?
So when Bow Wow was faking on the private jet, can he be banned?
Huh?
When Bow Wow was faking on the private jet, can he be banned?
I mean,
lie all the time on social media.
Maybe we just need to kind of decide what the rules are. To your point, I guess, because when celebrities, we care more about what celebrities say than our own leadership. You know, you know what I'm saying? Every time a celebrity may say something that's somewhat racist or whatever, we're ready to cancel. So why didn't cancel culture apply to Trump? I guess in the sense, you know what I'm saying? So
people who wanted to cancel Trump aren't the people following Trump.
Yeah,
like Trump, Melania Trump, when T.I.'s album came out, he had a commercial that made somebody act like Melania Trump was basically stripping in front of him. And she said, I want to ban people from buying T.I.'s album. Well, the people she talking to was never buying T.I.'s album in the first place. Mm-hmm. So that's why we can't ban Trump, because we all banned Trump. He wasn't our audience in the first place.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. But I think to your point, Darrell, I think like you, in terms of you being concerned about what's considered good or bad, I think when you're in a position of power, there's a responsibility that you have that's different from the regular citizen.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if your tweet can actually cause the Dow Jones to drop, then maybe, you know, we need to be a little bit more considerate about what you're tweeting. And in that case, the option of banning you should be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
disclaimers ain't working.
The disclaimer's not working. So I think to your point, we probably need to kind of go in, kind of determine what are the rules And if those are the rules, let's just stick to it. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be perfect the first time around, but they gotta be some type of guidelines of saying, okay, you know what? Maybe you don't need to be tweeting anymore. Just
you need to be put on timeout like a
time out for a second. You know what I'm saying?
So my we're about to wrap up. I got a few more questions. Do you guys feel a little hope though that Georgia flipped to blue? Does that make you have a little bit of hope for the future?
Yeah, I think for me and for us and for a lot of Black people, I think it does go to show the power of voting or power in voting. Because in the election where Trump won, we just really didn't show up enough. So it wasn't that the majority of us didn't still vote for Hillary in that election. There was just not enough to overtake the amount of Republicans that were voting. And I think that our testament, like I think for so long, Black people were like, oh, well, our vote doesn't matter, so I don't vote at all. Literally, this is showing you that when you actually show up and vote, you can outvote a red state. Georgia hasn't been red, hasn't been blue since Clinton. So it goes to show that, and in not even just this state, but other states. You got Minnesota, you have Michigan, you have all those other states. You have Iowa, Ohio. Those all flip flop, and they flip flop whenever Democrats, whenever Black people, whenever Black women, whenever Black men show up and vote, and people that are non-Black have a conscience. So
enough of them. Let me say,
I think it does give us. It does give us some some power. Like give us the idea that we do have some power and we do have some say so in what happens in the election.
Yeah, I think you're right because I honestly thought the Republicans were still gonna win in a blowout. I thought Kelly Loeffler and Dave Perdue was gonna win in a blowout. And I'm completely shocked that because John Alfalfa and Warnock should have won in a blowout because they at least talked about what they were gonna do. For it to be still that close worries me, but it does look good. What about you, Shar?
I'm actually gonna be the pessimist for the first time. Actually, that's funny. I just think that we found a way to we solved the puzzle. I think when you think about our history, once slaves were freed, we had a Reconstruction period. Black folks were elected to the Senate representative. Then Jim Crow came, suppressed our vote. You know what I'm saying?
So then you happen.
Yes, I just feel like because although we won on a national scale, our state is still red from just internally. So all it's gonna do is cause there are already talks about the Georgia Congress coming back and actually doing voter reform, and all that means is just finding different ways to suppress the vote. I just feel like
the vote suppress Black people.
Exactly. So I feel like we solved the puzzle of how to the puzzle that was in front of us before. They're gonna put out a new puzzle, and they're gonna have to solve that one again in order to be able to try to break through and actually have. So I just feel like there's always going to be some type of barrier that can be put in place that's going to, that we're going to have to solve again in order to be able to, I guess, make a difference. So will that impact
life? But
I don't know.
That's life. That's not just this. That's all the time you're going to have to figure out.
But the creative part about that is that that's not life for white folks. You know what I'm saying?
It's like for everyone. Everyone.
No, he's saying that you're not going to have another obstacle to stop. Like if it was a bunch of Black people taking over corporate America, they're going to change an obstacle to make that to stop that. So we're saying that when a bunch of white people take over, there's not an obstacle to stop that. They encourage that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though is celebrate the successes. This is a huge win.
I was happy.
Is what I'm saying. Like the point to pull out here is that people need to vote. And not just vote in the national elections. We showed up at our state level. We need to show up at our local levels as well. Because again, we're not going to change anything until we're voting in every single election. And the people that we feel like represent our areas are going to make an impact or change. Is going to change the state from being red controlled to being more equally controlled blue.
Let me change that. I don't think our motivation to vote is going to change. I just think that all of a sudden we have a rule where you have to give like 2 ounces of blood. The blood got to trace back to the DNA. You are who you are, and all of a sudden, like you got to give like get your what it's called when you have to a notary to do all this in order to be able to say You are a victim of this, Edward. You are one of the people who were actually
try to suppress your vote.
Suppress your vote, and you
Oh my God.
from the voter roll. So it's always gonna be something. I feel that's
so,
gonna yeah.
Let me talk about the elephant in the room though. I think both of you are right. We should be celebrating this win, but we should also look at it and learn from it in the sense that I'm afraid that the only people voted because Trump was such a galvanizing force that enough people was like, I just don't want this shit anymore. And Perdue and Loeffler were kind of Trump, advocates that people were like, I don't want them anymore. So if it was, I feel like if it was a normal Republican, that Georgia would still be red. And also the thing I want to be wary about the Democratic Party is you have Black people's ear. You have Black people's motivation. You have Black people's energy. If you blow this, it could be a chance that Black people don't vote again. So that's why I'm saying that it's some things we need to celebrate it, but there's some things we need to make sure we wary about. Warnock and Biden, Harris, they better do their job and they better do right by Black people, because if this doesn't work, you might see the next election a massive drop of Black people not voting.
And also, let's make note that Warnock is going to be up for re-election in 2022.
Yes.
So let's just see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Right. Let's celebrate, but I'm kind of curious to see what happens 2 years from now if we're still going to have that same. You know what I'm saying?
I'm curious on the governor race.
Yeah.
I'm curious on that.
I'm ready. 2020 is that 2022, right? I'm ready.
2022.
I'm ready for
Abrams. Because Abrams gonna be rerun, but I'm curious. That's gonna tell a lot. But the Democrats have to do their job. It's so many times the Democrat in the past have took for granted the Black vote, and they needed us this time.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say this.
Just this time. They need us all the time.
All the time. Yeah, all the time.
Solely just with trying to get people to switch over from they have to have the Black vote.
They have to have it, right.
Exactly. So they're not going to win. And to your point, you're exactly right. The Democrats need to not mess up. They need to not mess up this time. They need to focus and get their agenda across whichever ways they need to. They need to be bipartisan to work it out so that we're doing agendas that are improving Black people's lives in a way that is different than has been done in the past, because right now we're kind of tired of it. Like, we're honestly tired of it. So I agree that you're completely right. Like, if they fuck this up, they're gonna have a very tough time getting the Black vote
again. And I'm saying nobody's gonna get the Black vote.
And also forget bipartisan. That's all I want to say. Ain't no time to be bipartisan right now. We got the House,
the House,
we got the Senate, and we got the presidency. I don't need Joe Biden to do what Obama did, and that's compromise and stuff. We need to go in and just start approving and putting stuff in place, and just say, I don't care what you think, I want this in place. Let's do this. We got 2 years. We got 2 years to get what we want to get in place. Let's start approving stuff.
Is it 51 in the
it's 51 because Harris is the deciding vote. But some things I read that you have to have 60%. I don't know what those things are. I don't know enough about it to talk, but I've read that. But you're right. If I'm buying, I'm pushing everything through. I'm pushing it all through. You niggas want 5,000? Here, take it. Take it. Pushing it through, man. But we have to make sure that we keep the energy high, man, because like a lot of us voted not because we were galvanized by Biden. Some of us were galvanized by more from Harris, especially black people were galvanized more for Harris. But still, a lot of people just didn't want that motherfucker, Trump, still in office. So we just got to make sure that we keep this wave going and keep this energy going. Because what's going to happen is the Republican Party, if they keep going this path they're on, they're going to keep going down. Because mostly people in that mind state of the Republicans are older white people. Well, they're going to pass away, right? And these younger generations are going to come to have this more diverse mindset. And if they keep this road, Republicans are going to die out. But if the Democrats want to keep black people,
I don't know if I can agree with that, only because the people that are in rural areas, they're still having children, and they're instilling the same type of values. So it's a cyclical thing.
No, that's true. That's true.
Actually, the thing about it is that, I mean, if rushing the Capitol wasn't enough to say, you know what, maybe I just need to go ahead and just make a change. I mean, what is? I mean, I don't even want to imagine what's required to make people say, you know what, we need to make a change.
We need to look at ourselves.
Huh?
We need to look at ourselves as a problem.
Yeah.
Dude,
Like, do we have to? Like, do we need to blow up the U.S. and then two people be left? Like, you know what? We need to change. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that moment that say, you know what? We gotta do
went
better.
a little too far.
Huh?
And I said this before. I feel like something major, catastrophic has to happen in the United States for us to now kind of get back to a point where we're like, okay, we are focused on Americans. Like what 9/11 was that thing for a period of time, right? And I feel like, and I said this before on another podcast, I feel like we are never going to unify unless something devastating happens in the country.
So EJ, let me ask you: the pandemic wasn't good enough?
Exactly. It obviously is not, as you can tell. As you can tell, not. How many thousands of Americans? 200,000. How many hundreds of thousands?
Like 350, not 360.
That's like 350.
It's like that's obviously not enough. It needs to be something where like
350,000 people died. That ain't good enough.
That's not. Look, that's not enough. We can see they stormed the Capitol building still.
No mask on.
I said this on my Facebook page. The irony of it all is that if they would have worn a mask, they probably could have got away with it. I think that's sort of funny. So I think that's the irony of it all. If they would have had a mask on, they wouldn't be. They could have got away with it.
And they getting picked off on social media. They getting picked off. Yeah. They have 7 people who are arrested for the feds arrested and 49, I think, in local courts. They getting picked off. Last question, and this is just gonna be a simple question. Where do we go from here? Where do us as Black people go from here?
I'm going to work.
You going for the white man? You going to work for the white man? That's what you learned in this process?
Well, he's in management, so he is essentially the white man.
God,
well, he fires Black people, so yes, he is the white man.
I hired a Black woman. Thank you very much.
And Black person. How long have you been working there now, and how many Black people have you hired?
I hired one and got rid of one.
So you're even. So
Zero.
Broke even.
You're at zero.
Let me stop saying I hired the best person because I ain't hired her because she was Black. I hired her because she was Black.
But where you're not answering the question. Where do we go from here as a country, as Black people in this country?
I'll be pessimistic now. I guess maybe Georgia could give us some hope to say. I don't know. I don't know where we go. I don't know. Maybe we start working on our plan to kind of build our own nation. I don't know.
And you were against me when I said that.
I mean, I don't know what
against us when we said
that. Against us. We need a Wakanda, man.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing has just like I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know.
Coming to America 2 is coming out, baby. You got the blueprint.
I know there's some good white people out there, but I just can't focus on y'all right now. It's just that y'all representatives just messing y'all up. I mean, I just don't know what to say. It's just
right.
Just sad.
What about you, EJ?
So number one, we need to all get guns. Again, I'll say this again, and I feel like this is.
Do you own a gun?
So, no, I don't. So I'm going to. I will be getting a gun. Absolutely, will be.
Sorry, do you own a gun?
I don't own a gun. I don't know if I want one though, but I think I need to get one at this point. I mean,
I am a gun owner. Yes, I own.
So we need to. What amendment is that?
The Second
Amendment. Okay.
Bear arms.
So that's number 2. We need to exercise our right to bear arms. I think we need to use some of the things that we saw that happened on Black Wall Street, where they were working together. They all were gun owners. I think that's first and foremost.
They also got massacred, EJ.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying they ain't own enough guns.
No, yeah. Well, it was a lot. We'll talk about that.
And that sparked over a Black woman falsely accusing a Black man. That's how it sparked the whole thing.
Exactly. So that's number 1, protect ourselves. So we need to arm ourselves. Number 2, we need to get behind the grassroots organizations that are really about trying to change the dynamic of what's happening and make sure that we hold the people that are in office in our local areas accountable. So that's how it goes from the bottom up. Like, yes, while we secured the presidency and we secured our Senate in our local area here, where I live in Chamblee Tucker area, I need to know the laws that are being that are happening, that are being passed. I need to be speaking to representatives, understanding what's happening, and making sure that people understand this is something that I feel like would be good, or this law is not good. And so we need to be voting for the people that have our best interest in mind. Those are things that I feel like we need to do. I do think that we need to work in our own communities as well and try to self-govern our own communities a little bit better while police are there to aid or whatever. We need to be start looking out for ourselves. Like have a community, have neighborhood watch programs, work together, get to know the people in our communities, build a good network of trust among the people in our area so that we can rebuild our own communities, right? So like, yes, we have a lot of violence in a lot of Black areas. Yes, we have, a lot of other things that are happening. But I think if we can come together and start to work and figure out how we can support one another, I think we're going to see some different outcomes in our own communities. That's my plan for us.
I 100% agree with you. I think it starts with us. I think looking at ourselves and working on ourselves and building. So maybe, I joked about the Black Wall Street, but I think you're absolutely correct. I thought to myself, Mississippi has the highest population of Black people. If every Black person just moved to Mississippi, I was just like, if you treated like higher Mississippi maybe as the northern states, and like you could break up in little territories and still keep your little culture. But I was like, if all of us just moved to Mississippi and just like, and if enough of us moved to Mississippi, white people gonna leave. They gonna leave naturally. But
Mississippi.
No, because that's the highest population of Black people. So that's why I said that.
But then you have to deal with the hurricane.
Yes, I mean I'll be close. Yeah,
we'll be one with nature. We'll control the hurricanes. We'll send them. We're gonna build a Wakanda in Mississippi. But
Mississippi is our best option for Wakanda. I guess let's go for it.
But I was just saying that, but all jokes aside, we need to kind of look inner and try to just build us. At this point, we've seen white people wild out. We've seen what they would do when they fear that their power, and they haven't even lost power, but even their perceived notion that of them losing power, that we really have to just look at ourselves and build ourselves up. But I don't want to hear nobody else talking about the Falcons lost the Super Bowl because Georgia saved y'all asses. So I started with it. I want to end it there. Georgia saved y'all asses. No more jokes about the Super Bowl. I don't want to hear it. So that will be it for us. We got to get ready. Today is Sunday, so we have the Ravens-Titans game today.
Titans about to win again because we beat them every time we played them. So
we're gonna spank that ass.
You're not gonna spank nothing. Y'all can't get past us. Y'all can't.
You know I'm an honorary Ravens fan too.
Apparently, I'm just
He's a Ravens fan because the Falcons are doing so bad.
You see how it started? I just told you that treaty took 2 seconds to break.
That transition so smoothly.
He had to jump on his wife's bandwagon with the Ravens because so you can't be doing that. Like he tried to say,
like we ain't supposed to pay attention.
I can because my wife is a Raven. I can be an honorary Raven, although no. You can't have two different.
This is America. This is Biden's America. I can do what I want.
If white folks could storm the Capitol, you can become a Raven. I'm just saying. It's like that's the least of our worries. Darrell becoming a Ravens fan. You know.
But he's about to lose again, sadly.
Oh yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We've been very consistent at beating y'all, and we will be consistent today.
No, that's true. That's true. That's true. But we'll see. Hopefully, it's a different outcome. But that's what I'll be doing with my afternoon. I hate doing this, but because I know you're gonna disappoint me. Shar, our social media.
We are the Trump. We are now on the Trumpless Facebook page, the Trumpless Twitter.
We're taking over the
Man podcast. We're on the Trumpless Instagram. The Trumpless.
Are we banned from Spotify and Pinterest?
Yeah, we on the banned spot. We on Spotify too. He banned from that too. All LSMN podcast. He can't listen to our podcast. Trump can't listen to our podcast, people. So find us on Facebook. It's that's YouTube at LSMN.
Write this stuff down.
So I don't be thinking. So
we do this every week.
Well, LSMN podcast. That's where we at.
Just search it.
Just search it. We have to have a website at www.lessofamenpodcast.com.
What, at Less of a Man?
Yeah, www.lessofamenpodcast.com.
No, the at for our social media is that. Why is it different? Why we go through this every week?
I don't know. You know what? I'm actually gonna write it.
It's gonna be posted on the end of this video anyway. So
yeah. Look at the link below. That's what I'm gonna keep saying.
You just gonna point down.
I'm like, when you ask them, this and go.
What about the people listening?
I mean, yeah, if y'all listening, you know where we at. I mean, do I need to?
Already found it.
I mean, if you listening, thank you for listening. That means you know where we at. So it's like, I don't need to tell y'all. I mean, you found us. Welcome.
All right, that's it for us, y'all. Peace.